Hello, friends. This is Sam Cheney reporting for Weaponized News. Today, April 16th, 2026. Thank you for joining us on this Thursday edition of Weaponized News. We have quite a bit to get to today for you. Let's see, where do we start here? The hook. Should I just blurt out the spoiler alert? Spoiler alert. The aardvarks have already broken the ceasefire with Lebanon. There's no ceasefire. We'll go over all that as Trump is praising and touting a 10-day ceasefire between Lebanon and aardvark land. As soon as they said there's a ceasefire, they kept bombing. There's no ceasefire. I'm going to cover all these details for you today. They're bombing the hell out of Lebanon. There's no ceasefire. All these details, man. A lot. We got Pete Hegseth, Secretary of War. Fake Bible passages out of Pulp Fiction. Extremely bizarre behavior out of these people, man. They're not right in the head. We got public health news, some testimony from sadly disgusting testimony from Bobby Kennedy Jr. today. We'll go over some of that. He's praising Trump. Mulhall's a complete failure. Sorry to tell you. Sorry to report that to you here now. The miracle agenda is going full steam ahead. So, complete and utter failure on the Mulhall front. We got more Lego propaganda videos as well. We got a lot of economic news. We've got more Epstein news and a bunch of geopolitical news, the fallout, the continued fight between Trump and the Pope. Who else? Trump's going after, well, he says every country that didn't help us in the Iran war, right? They're essentially our enemy, or we're not going to help them. I don't know. Are we getting out of NATO? I don't know. Are there plans to attack Turkey? They're part of NATO. I don't know. These people are crazy. There's ongoing operations in South America right now, very underreported, as we build the greater North America project here now. All that's going on as well. But the big news of the day is there is no ceasefire. Like, if we trusted aardvarks, they violated the first ceasefire. The one before today, right, back in, when was it, December or November of last year? I can't even remember. Anyway, alleged ceasefire with Lebanon. They violated that. There is no ceasefire with Gaza, in Gaza. They're stacking bodies every day. The genocide continues. It's just pure evil, man. Aardvarks, Netanyahu, pure evil. And we hitched our wagon to them. We're doing pure evil here too now, aren't we? Truly disgusting. Truly disgusting. What was the Pope? The Pope said today, pretty good quote, I think, from him. He said, and we got the clip of it, Pope Leo warns tyrants are ravaging the world. Indeed. Indeed. There couldn't be a truer statement right now. All right, a whole bunch of news to get to, sort all this out, all this insanity. Let's start with this day in history. It's pretty short today. Thank you everybody for joining us. Apologies to the chat yesterday. I couldn't go to the chat at the end of the show because I had a bunch of I had to finish up my tax work yesterday, doing my slave duties. And so anyway, I'm glad that's over. So I'll definitely be getting to the comments today for you guys. Thank you for commenting and tuning in. Give me that like, share, subscribe, push that notification button. All right. On this day of April 16th, we go to the year 1705. On this day in 1705, Isaac Newton is knighted by Queen Anne of England. 1861 on this day, then President Abraham Lincoln outlaws doing business with Confederate states. Part of the U.S. Civil War. The next year, 1862, on this day, American Confederate Congress approves Conscription Act for all white males 18 to 35 years old. Also, on this day in 1862, slavery is abolished in Washington, D.C., the District of Columbia, and they subsequently made us all slaves. So see how that works. See how all that worked out for us. On this day in 1917, Vladimir Lenin arrives back from exile in Russia at Finland Station, Petrograd, to join the Russian Revolution. On this day in 1922, we saw Annie Oakley set the woman's record by breaking 100 clay targets in a row, shooting record there, set on this day for women's by Annie Oakley. Good job, Annie Oakley. On this day in 1943, Swiss scientist Dr. Albert Hofmann discovers the psychedelic effects of LSD. And the government went on to abuse LSD and dose people without their knowledge. Part of MK Ultra, mind control experiment, still going on to this day. 1945, on this day, the Battle of Berlin, the Red Army, the Soviets, begins its attack on the capital of Nazi Germany. The Battle of Berlin kicked off on this day, 1945. 1993 on this day, the Rodney King riots. A jury reaches guilty verdict in federal case against police officers, 2 convicted, 2 acquitted, who beat Rodney King, but the verdict is not read until tomorrow, April 17th. On this day in 2015, Elizabeth Holmes, American entrepreneur, inventor, and founder and CEO of Theranos, is named one of Time Magazine's top 100 most influential people in the year 2015, and then subsequently went on to be convicted of a giant fraud scheme. So there you go. We do appreciate here in America our most influential people being complete and total frauds, you see. Evidence, Donald Trump, evidence, Elizabeth Holmes, and we could go on. And just 1 year ago on this day, in 2025, the United States Navy launches a wave of missile strikes across Houthi-controlled Yemen, killing at least 31 people and injuring at least 101 other Yemenis, Houthis, but they're terrorists, so that's what they get, right? Right. Okay. Even though, honestly, an embarrassing loss for the U.S. military. We can't even beat cavemen in Yemen. We definitely have lost the Iranian war. And so it's not looking good. It's not looking good for the maniacs bombing people constantly. But they lie out of both sides of their mouth and their rear end and say, we're wonderful and we've won the Iran war 48 times. It's still going on. Sorry to we're just not doing the heavy bombing campaigns. We're not seeing heavy body counts, but you better believe the war's still going on here. We haven't settled anything. And as long as Bibi is the head of Aardvark land, we will have no peace. You better believe that. On this day in our civil liberties history, April 16th, 1997, consent decree to end pattern or practice of abuse by Pittsburgh police. The Civil Rights Division of the United States Justice Department and the city of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, entered into a consent decree on this day that requires sweeping reforms of the Pittsburgh Police Bureau, specifically an end to abusive practices by the police. The consent decree was the first brought by the Special Litigation Section of the Civil Rights Division under Section 14141 of the 1994 Violent Crime Control Act and a Law Enforcement Act, which was passed on September 13th, 1994. The law empowered the Justice Department to bring suit against police departments when there was a pattern or practice of violation of people's rights. The specific reforms ordered in the Pittsburgh Consent Decree and virtually all subsequent decrees include state-of-the-art use of police force policy, an early intervention system, and more open and accessible citizen compliant procedure. Well, again, you're going to have police brutality. You're going to have them looking at citizens as terrorists as long as they're trained by Aardvark land. You see, it keeps coming up. I don't know in this specific case if the Pittsburgh police were trained by Aardvark land, but many such cases have arisen here in America where the police see the general public as terrorists because that's the training they're getting from Aardvark land, because that's how they see the general public is as terrorists. And with that, here's our segue. Here's Trump earlier today.
We have a very good relationship with Iran right now, as hard as it is to believe. And I think it's a combination of about 4 weeks of bombing and a very powerful blockade. The blockade is maybe more powerful than the bombing, if you want.
We have a great relationship with Iran. They love being bombed and blockaded, you see. More from Trump here earlier today.
Just so you understand, the blockade has been incredible. It's held, and they're not doing any business. They're unable to do any business because of the blockade. And so the combination of having no Navy, having no Air Force, having no anti-aircraft equipment, they have nothing. Everything is gone, including their leaders. Now they have a new set of leaders, and
It's full of shit. It's full of shit. They got a bunch of military equipment still. They struck the entrance to the cave. They're digging it out. They've been digging it out. They're using this ceasefire to dig out their equipment that's in their underground bases. They have a bunch of more military assets. You better believe it. This thing ain't even close to over.
willing to extend the ceasefire, or will the fighting resume, Mr. President?
I would say the fighting, if there's no deal, fighting resumes.
There you go. If there's no deal, fighting resumes. Well, Aardvark land, as long as we hitch our wagon to Aardvark land, there will be no deal. You understand? Because every time we try to make a deal, they go do a freaking assassination or a giant massacre bombing campaign. Here's a post from Trump earlier today. I will be inviting the Prime Minister, Shadow President of America, Bibi, and the President of Lebanon to the White House. Both sides want to see peace, and I believe that will happen quickly. In addition to the statement just issued, I will be inviting the Shadow President of America. I guess that's the same. It's talking about this, I guess. Yeah, so egg all over your face, Trump. You're a clown. And it's just sad. It's sad because people are dying, honestly. I don't give a damn about Trump. He needs to go to prison for the rest of his life for being a war criminal and most likely a child molester and a rapist. But I'm sad for America that our wagon's hooked to this asshole. Earlier today, he said, I just had an excellent conversation with the highly respected President Joseph Anoun of Lebanon. That's just not true. He's not highly respected. I believe they did have a conversation, but he's not highly respected. He's a freaking puppet. And, of course, Shadow President of America, Bibi, these two leaders have agreed that in order to achieve peace between their countries, they will formally begin a 10-day ceasefire at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They already broke the ceasefire. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. They already broke the ceasefire. More from Trump earlier today, and we'll get to that reporting.
With Lebanon, it's very exciting. I think we're going to have a deal where we're going to have a meeting, first time in 44 years, and Lebanon will be meeting with Israel, and they're probably going to do it at the White House.
When do you think they would?
That it literally means nothing. It's political theater. Aardvarks are gone. Here's the reporting. Breaking out of Drop Site News, and I checked a couple other spots, and everybody's reporting it, so I believe it's accurate. But Drop Site here says breaking. Aardvark land is continuing to bomb Lebanon despite the ceasefire agreement that allegedly went into effect at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Despite the ceasefire having been in effect for about 20 minutes, the Aardvark land army is still shelling towns in southern Lebanon. The artillery fire is continuing. In Kiam and Dubaini, probably not pronouncing those but correctly, but southern Lebanon. There you go. And so, wow. And they were bombing all the way up to the bombing campaign, and it never stopped, okay? It never stopped. So there was this imaginary ceasefire at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. They bombed them right up until then, and then people are like, oh, they stopped, so the ceasefire's in effect. No, 20 minutes later, they continue the war. There is no ceasefire. What does Trump have to say? He'll just lie and say, oh, there's ceasefire. And you're like, there's all kind of bodies that are blowing everything up. Everything's fine in the golden age of lies from Trump and Aardvark land. Lebanon National News Agency reports over 50 Aardvark land airstrikes have been carried out across southern and central and western Lebanon over the last 2 hours. That was leading up to the alleged ceasefire. There's no ceasefire because War's ongoing. Yeah, just we got clips. They're bombing the hell out of the place continually. Here's an image of it. There's video. There you go, leveling the place. Southern Lebanon. And of course, the Lebanese resistance is firing back. And so here, and this is not the sex offender map in Aardvark land. This is the missile siren warning system going on. So, and that was earlier today before the alleged ceasefire. There is no ceasefire, so there you go. U.S. says Aardvark land's right to self-defense remains untouched under Lebanon ceasefire. It's just, come on, man. They're freaking. They already ethnic cleansed southern Lebanon. They're taking that land. How's that self-defense? In a statement released by the U.S. State Department, Washington has once again stressed that Aardvark land's right to self-defense is not impeded by the 10-day cessation of hostilities with Lebanon, effectively allowing continued attacks under the justification of imminent and ongoing threats. The framework presented as a step towards so-called peace speaks of sovereignty, stability, and mutual recognition while placing the burden on Lebanon to rein in Hezbollah. Brokered by the U.S., the framework is being sold as a goodwill gesture to enable negotiations, the unusual language of security and diplomacy, even as the terms leave room for continued escalation under the guise of defense. It's bullshit. Take your ceasefire and shove it up your rear end, because that's where it belongs, because there is no ceasefire. There never has been, and again, there never will be, as long as Bibi is the head of the Aardvarks over there. Because as soon as the war ends, he's going to have to face his own corruption trials in Aardvark land. He won't let that happen. And so he'll sooner blow up the world than face justice for being the most corrupt man in the world. What does the EU have to say about it? I guess we've like broken ties with the EU, essentially, or many European states. EU welcomes Aardvark land Lebanon ceasefire, urges respect for sovereignty. Pretty funny there. Aardvarks have no respect for Lebanon sovereignty whatsoever. But of course, it's all for their own self-defense, you see. Continuing here, who is this? Vanderlei, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, today welcomed the 10-day ceasefire. She said, I welcome the announced 10-day ceasefire between Aardvark land and Lebanon, mediated by President Trump. This is a relief, as this conflict has already claimed far too many lives. Europe will continue to call for the full respect of Lebanon's sovereignty and territorial integrity, and we will keep supporting the Lebanese people through substantial humanitarian aid. The announcement was also welcomed by the EU's foreign policy chief, Kaja Kallas. I think she's the one a few months back that said, hey, it's time to start drinking. And so Aardvarks are not honoring Lebanon's sovereignty, obviously, here now. Lebanese Speaker of the Parliament, Barry, said, our dear people, you who carried the South, the Bekaa, and the southern suburbs in your hearts as you left the blessed land whose sons have written with blood and sacrifice a story of resilience, dignity, and national belonging, whose longing to return to your towns and villages burns within you, as you have always been in difficult times. We understand the pain of longing and the bitterness of waiting. For this reason, we address you. Preserving safety and protecting lives is a foremost duty and the truest loyalty to the land. We urge everyone to exercise patience in returning to towns and villages until the situation and developments become clear in accordance with the ceasefire agreement. That's your ethnic cleansing program. And the IDF's telling them, don't go back to your house. Don't go back. Over 1 million Lebanese displaced, ethnically cleansed out of southern Lebanon. Hezbollah issued a statement. Hezbollah says, to the dear people of the resistance, with the announcement of a ceasefire and in the face of a treacherous enemy accustomed to violating agreements and understandings, we call on you to exercise restraint and refrain from heading to the targeted areas in the south, the Bekaa and Beirut's southern suburbs, until developments become fully clear. We recognize the depth of your longing to return to your villages and homes, and we appreciate the patience and steadfastness you have shown before the world. However, out of concern for your safety and your precious lives, we call on you to remain patient and endure. God willing, you will return to your villages with your heads held high, proud as you have always been. Yeah, that's not happening. Simply not happening. Hezbollah PM Maswawi told Drop Site News that Hezbollah will abide by the ceasefire, while stressing that Aardvark land must comply fully with its terms across all Lebanese territory. He further stated that full compliance would require a complete cessation of hostilities and end to Aardvark land aggression and assassinations, and could serve as a step toward an Aardvark land withdrawal from occupied Lebanese territories. That's simply not going to happen. He added that Hezbollah would approach the agreement cautiously while monitoring its implementation. They went back to the same ceasefire agreement that has been reached to in Islamabad by the Iranian initiative. We will be respecting the ceasefire and we will deal with it cautiously, actually. And the Aardvarks have to abide by it completely, comprehensively in all the Lebanese territory, including the areas bordering Palestine. And it should include total cessation of the hostilities and restraint to the movement of the Aardvarks to stop their assassinations. And it should hopefully be a beginning of a course of the Aardvark land withdrawal from occupied territories. That's simply not going to happen. Ghalibaf out of Iran, he said, as I said last night as well, the ceasefire was nothing but a result of Hezbollah's steadfastness and the unity of the axis of resistance. And we will deal with this ceasefire with caution, and we will remain together until the full realization of victory. I thank the mediating efforts of the state of Pakistan and General Asim Munir for endorsing this ceasefire. We are true to our pledge. Well, aardvarks aren't, and they know this, right? They know this. Continuing, Turkey President Erdogan. Are we going to get out of NATO and then whack Turkey next? May very well, if we follow aardvark land lead. Turkey President Erdogan said, aardvark land, which openly expresses a plan to turn the West Bank into a new Gaza, and they also looking to turn Lebanon into a new Gaza as well. I added that. Continuing with what he said, is seeking to revive the shame of apartheid 32 years after its collapse in South Africa through the death penalty it has imposed on Palestinian prisoners. The final solution, apartheid. There you go. U.S. State Department said aardvark land shall preserve its right to take necessary measures in self-defense at any time against planned, imminent, and ongoing attacks. Don't freaking false flag yourself. There will be no peace one way or another. Here you go. IDF is warning the Lebanese, do not go back to your home. IDF warning, urgent message to residents of southern Lebanon. As the ceasefire agreement enters into force, the IDF continues to maintain its positions in southern Lebanon in response to the ongoing terrorist activities of Hezbollah. For your safety and for the safety of your families, and until further notice, you are asked not to move south of the Litani River. And there it is. They took all of that land and they ain't giving it back. You see? Or they want to take all that land. They really haven't yet, but they want to, right? And so that's where this threat comes in. Don't go back home. You'll get whacked. May very well. Here's Shadow President of America, Bibi. He already rejected it, right? He says he rejected Hezbollah's demand for withdrawal to internationally recognized borders, calling it unacceptable because we have a greater aardvark land project and it will be built regardless of how many bodies it's built upon and how much blood is spilled by these maniacs. More from Bibi. Let's see here. Bibi says, we remain in Lebanon in a reinforced security zone. We are not leaving. This is a security belt that stretches from the sea to Mount Dove and the approaches to Mount Hermon up the Syrian border, a 10-kilometer wide zone that is much stronger, more continuous, and more solid than before. They're going to take some of Syria too. Watch. We got news that later in the show about Syria. We'll update you on what's going on there with a U.S. military base. Netanyahu on Lebanon. He says, we have two fundamental demands. First, the disarmament of Hezbollah. Second, a sustained peace agreement, peace through strength. The same old Orwellian bullshit. And by the way, Hezbollah is not disarming, or they'll suffer the same fate as Palestinians in prison. The final solution. You see it? They're not stupid. They understand this. Yeah. Less than 2 hours. Less than 2 hours after the ceasefire, aardvark land breaks the ceasefire. More than 7 violations already recorded in under an hour. They're carrying out airstrikes, heavy artillery fires being reported. Aardvark land also warned the Lebanese military and UNIFIL not to repair the Qasem Bridge over the Litani River, the key crossing blocking civilians from returning home. Lebanese authorities began repairs anyway. So there you go. Repairing your bridge is an act of aggression against these psychos. And the bombing continues. According to Yaron Avraham, out of Channel 12 Aardvarkland News said Netanyahu has told his ministers, we remain in the security strip during the ceasefire. Wherever we are, we stay there. So whatever advances they've made, they're not giving up on those positions. Not complying with the ceasefire. Aardvarkland's reported out of I-24 News, Aardvarkland's ministers outraged during the security cabinet meeting. Trump announces Aardvarkland's consent to a ceasefire before security cabinet approval. They don't want a ceasefire. They're not. They've already violated the ceasefire. There is no ceasefire. But Trump will lie and say it's wonderful, right? We haven't heard from Trump about this yet. Maybe he said something, I don't know. But I'm sure he will be asked about it. This maniac, Pete Hegseth, he's facing impeachment now, rightfully so. Says, our message to Iran's military leaders, we're watching you. Our capabilities are not the same. Ours and yours. Remember that it's not a fair fight. This blockade is the polite way that this can go. You do not have a navy or real domain awareness. You can't control anything. So, still talking a whole lot of shit from Hegseth there, right? Got a briefing press conference today. Hegseth and Kane, isn't it Kane? Head of what is he head of even? I can't even remember. Joint Chiefs, or is it CENTCOM? Anyway, we'll get to those. Hegseth today at the press conference said, stay focused, block out the noise, stay aggressive. You are showing the world what it means to be an American warrior. You are making this building and the American people proud. We pray for you every day, and we have your back in every way. Talking to U.S. soldiers. Morale may be getting low. We do have some images of their meals. It's not looking too good. More from Hegseth. He said, Secretary of War with a message to Iranian leaders. As our negotiators have said, you, Iran, can choose a prosperous future, a golden bridge. They already rebuilt a bunch of their blowing up bridges and railways and other buildings and infrastructure that's been damaged by the U.S. bombing and Aardvarkland bombing campaigns. A golden bridge, and we hope that you do for the people of Iran. In the meantime, and for as long as it takes, we will maintain this successful blockade. But if Iran chooses poorly, then they will have a blockade and bombs dropping on infrastructure, power, and energy. So he's threatening war crimes, crimes against humanity. Again, impeach his ass. Get him out of there. He's a psycho. This is just wild. This was yesterday. U.S. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth quotes fake Bible verse from Quentin Tarantino's Pulp Fiction during Pentagon sermon. Like, you can't even make this stuff up. Like, what? Here's the clip.
So the prayer is CSAR 2517, and it reads, and pray with me, please. The path of the downed aviator is beset on all sides by the iniquities of the selfish and the tyranny of evil men. Blessed is he who, in the name of camaraderie and duty, shepherd the lost through the valley of darkness. For he is truly his brother's keeper and the finder of lost children. And I will strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger those who attempt to capture and destroy my brother. And you will know my call sign is Sandy 1 when I lay my vengeance upon thee.
And you will know my name is the Lord when I lay my vengeance upon thee.
What do we even say to this? He's quoting Pulp Fiction, acting like it's a Bible verse. Impeach him, get him out of there. These people are out of their freaking minds, man. They're not righteous. They're not right. They're crazy people. Dan Kane, yeah, he's the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. I forget the other guy. That's the other guy, head of U.S. CENTCOM. Anyway, it was Hegseth and chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Dan Kane, that were. I guess we'll play this clip. This is a presentation earlier today about the blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. Let's take a look. Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Kane.
First to the graphic, this is taken before the blockade began. North is up. You can see the blockade line here in the center of the graphic, denoted by the red dashed line. This map is a pull from our common operating picture that we use to allow commanders and key leaders to see what is happening in near real time. We just grabbed screen grabs to highlight the actions and activities. What is not shown is how incredibly congested this area is and the incredible work that our sailors are doing to ensure that they can work in and around an incredibly busy water space. What is also not depicted here is the massive force of fighters, intelligence aircraft, helicopters, and other embarked forces, to include aerial refueling tankers that are up overhead this blockade area. You'll note that the U.S. forces are in blue, Iranian ships are in red, and as we started this blockade, there were 7.
I thought they have no more Navy. There's red on the map. I don't know. Let's hear what he says.
Ships of interest that were of concern for U.S. Central Command. Through a variety of intelligence tools and with the assistance of the Office of Naval Intelligence and other intelligence agencies, the force began to hunt for potential interdictors at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Next slide, please. It's now 12:40 Eastern Daylight Time, 2 hours and 40 minutes into the blockade, as attempted blockade runners attempt to hop the line. U.S. forces began to commit. Out in front of them was a range of intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, and tactical assets. And immediately these runners began to see, sense, and feel America's combat power compressing upon them. The lead ship, normally a destroyer as depicted here, along with air power off of the USS Abraham Lincoln Strike Group, began to move towards those ships. At each point, the United States Navy will transmit a warning. A young sailor, normally on the bridge of one of those destroyers, a junior officer, picks up that mic and transmits, and I quote, "Do not attempt to breach the blockade. Vessel."
Yeah, we played that post from U.S. CENTCOM yesterday. Their warning from U.S. Central Command. They say the USS Abraham Lincoln transits the Arabian Sea as the United States blockades Iran's ports and coastline. U.S. forces are not blockading the Strait of Hormuz. U.S. forces are not blockading the Strait of Hormuz, they say. More than 10,000 American service members, 12 plus ships, and 100+ aircraft have enforced the blockade in regional waters, ensuring that no vessel violates the president's proclamation. We have a whole lot of military assets committed there. Another meltdown from Trump. Trump can't meme anymore. He can't tweet. It doesn't hit anymore. He's not funny. He's just a obnoxious jerk, liar at this point. The White House doesn't have a ballroom, no taxpayer money, which presidents have desperately wanted and desired for over 150 years, but a Trump-hating Washington, D.C. There's something wrong with you when you're constantly referring to yourself in the third person. That's Trump. There's something seriously wrong with him. Continuing, but a Trump-hating Washington, D.C. District Court judge, a man who has gone out of his way to undermine national security and to make sure that this great gift to America gets delayed and doesn't get built, is attempting to prevent future presidents and world leaders from having a safe and secure large-scale meeting place or ballroom, one with bomb shelters and state-of-the-art hospital and medical facilities, protective partitioning, top-secret military installations, structures, and equipment, protective missile-resistant steel, columns, roofs, and beams, drone-proof ceiling and roofs, military-grade venting, and bullet, ballistic, and blast-proof glass, which all means that no future president living in the White House without this ballroom can ever be safe and secure at events, future inaugurations, or global summits. This significant space will allow them to carry out their vital duties as the leader of our nation. Furthermore, the ballroom, which is being constructed on budget and ahead of schedule, is needed now. Almost all material necessary for its construction is being built and or on its way to the site, ready for installation and erection. He does love that erection, that erect penis, the Washington Monument, doesn't he? Much of it has already been paid for, costing hundreds of millions of dollars. If somebody, especially one with no standing, had a complaint, why wasn't it filed many months earlier, long before construction was started? The public record was open for all to see. Everybody knew that it was planned and going to be built. But you lied, Trump. You said it's a ballroom. You didn't say it's this underground bunker. Well, you piss off everybody to the point they're ready to bomb America. You're going to go, you and the rest of your crooks are going to go hide in your bunker and leave us all out hung to dry here. So F you, your ballroom, your bunker, F you, man. America's losing the propaganda war big time. More Lego videos out today. Let's take a look. The latest Lego video.
Midnight post on the White House bed. 42,087. Will someone tell the Pope what Iran has done? Will someone wake him up before the morning sun?
There you go. They switched it up a little bit, went heavy metal style with that one. Yeah, somebody please tell the Pope that Iran was going to nuke us in 2 weeks for the last 47 years. Mm-hmm. I saw a clip. I don't even have it to play for you, but even Joe Rogan, right, the biggest podcast in the world, he's saying this is bullshit, right? And it's good that his audience is hearing that, his very large audience, that hey, this is bullshit. We've been hearing this story. Bibi's been telling this story, trying to sell America that Iran's going to nuke us for the last 47 years in 2 weeks, right? And even Rogan on his giant show saying, yeah, it's all bullshit, because it is, right? So that's good that a very large audience is hearing the truth about that, at least. Here's more. This is out of Iran. This is Minion style animation now. Propaganda war video.
I'm going to count to 3. When I open my eyes, the straight must be open. 1, 2, 3. Yay! Okay, I fix it now. I count to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4.5, 4.75. 5! Huh? What is he doing? Okay, I'll fix it now. If I count to 10, Hormuz will definitely open. 1, 2... What are you doing? This is insane! Stop it! Not my problem.
Ridiculousness. U.S. is losing the propaganda war. They're pushing the first lady, who doesn't know Epstein, even though there's a lot of evidence that Epstein introduced her to Trump. She knows nothing. You see, she's pushing this first lady, Melania Trump, championing new foster care legislation as part of her Fostering the Future initiative, joined youth and a bipartisan gathering of the House Ways and Means Committee to advance new legislation to strengthen support, expand opportunity, and improve outcomes for youth transitioning out of foster care. I would like to legitimately help foster youth. Do I believe this government's going to do it? No. No, I don't. No, I don't. Sad to say. And what about this monstrosity? I guess we're going to get this giant arch, very occultic. Probably have to do a report on all the occult symbolism here, but they're going to build this giant arch, the triumphal arch, to celebrate America 250 anniversary, the triumphant arch. And of course, it's extremely occultic there for Trump's religion. Here's America 250, your corporate fascist government. Here's a little video they put together about America 250 and how wonderful it's all going to be. sad, dude. America 250. It's all kinds of events. What do we got? So they're kicking off America 250 here now. It's going to run, they're calling it Great American State Fair, is a 16-day national exposition running from June 25th to July 10th this year, 2026, spanning from the U.S. Capitol to the Washington Monument. The celebration will unite and showcase all 56 U.S. states and territories in a single World's Fair scale event. This is an opportunity for visitors from across America to experience an unforgettable celebration of the people and the traditions that define our nation. Our nation unites diverse states and territories to form the strongest country in the world. This once-in-a-generation celebration will feature live music, carnival rides, and dozens of hands-on partner activations where visitors can taste, touch, and experience what makes each state and territory unique. And they'll also be doing occult ceremonies, harvesting energy. Oh, I added that part. Excuse me. So yeah, they're doing that thing. The bread and circuses. The bread and circuses there in DC, celebrating America 250. And all of our corporate sponsorship is much appreciated. Your real government. On to public health now. Where are we at? We're at the hour mark. At the 1 hour mark, let me take my live commercial break here. Everybody go to weaponizednews.com/shop. Get yourself a sticker, holograph sticker, white background sticker, clear sticker. We got these stickers over there. Help represent Weaponized News out there in the real world. Put it on your laptop, your bumper, your guitar, your hard hat, your work locker. weaponizednews.com/shop. The links are in the description below this video. We got t-shirts, coffee mugs, baseball caps, a bunch of gear over there. Go check it out. It's appreciated. We take donations as well. Cash app, buy me a coffee, Bitcoin wallet address, all in the description below this video. If you want to become a paid subscriber, go to Weaponized News Substack. We post the links to almost everything we talk about on Weaponized News Substack for documentation purposes and your further research purposes. If you find something interesting, you can find that we talk about on this show and you want to research it further, all the links are there. Weaponized News Substack, posted after every show. So there's the value there. Many different ways you can support this broadcast. Support independent reporting and analysis brought to you 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 Eastern time. We appreciate all the patrons to the store, the subscribers, the paid subscribers even more. All of it's free. Nothing's behind a paywall here at Weaponized News. So we're just asking you to, pay it forward. And many people have, and we do truly appreciate that. But pay it forward, drop whatever you can in the bucket. All the different ways we give you to help support us. I'd like you to patron the store and get yourself some Weaponized News gear. We have custom t-shirts, a few books in the store as well. All kind of different stuff. Go take a look. weaponizednews.com/shop. All the links are in the description below this video. Any which way you choose to support us is truly appreciated. Also, give us that like, share, subscribe, push that notification button. All that's free. I'm at like 975 subscribers on the YouTube. If I can break the 1,000 threshold. So if you're on any of these other channels besides YouTube, do me a favor and jump over to Weaponized News YouTube and push that subscribe button, because we're trying to break the 1,000 subscriber threshold, and then that's going to unlock full monetization for the channel. And then maybe we can get some money back out of this deal from Alphabet, right? Even though it's going to be small, every little bit helps here now as we're growing organically, slowly, finally. You know what I mean? After all these years, they finally took some of the clamps off. Who knows when they're going to put it back on us? I know they still got the clamps on us, right? But they took it off a little bit for whatever reason. We hate Trump YouTube, right? Right, bro? Anyhow, we're starting to grow a little bit now. If I could ever get ahead of the game, I'll put it right back in here, start advertising, start really cranking it up. But we're still depending on your organic support here. And again, everybody out there that does support the show, it is truly appreciated. Thank you very much. And with that, welcome back to the second half of Weaponized News on this Thursday, April 16th, 2026 edition. If you missed the beginning, as soon as the ceasefire was agreed to between Lebanon and Aardvarkland went on to break the ceasefire. There is no ceasefire, okay? And it's very sad because they continue to kill a lot of people, innocent men, women, and children in Lebanon. And they're saying, don't go back to your home. You'll get whacked, right? And so imagine that, kicking over 1 million people out of your house for the Greater Aardvarkland Project security concerns. It's ethnic cleansing. It's a war crime. But anything for Aardvarkland security, I suppose, right? Okay, on to public health news now, and we'll have more reporting on the war situation in the geopolitical section. But now we have to move on to public health. Bobby Kennedy Jr. Yesterday, he's talking about cutting off raccoon penises for research. Maybe the brain worm is getting to him. I don't know, but what have we got? Public health reform here, honestly, not much. And this is why. This is, again, Bobby Kennedy Jr. earlier today.
This president has done more to protect public health than any president in history. He's the first one. You guys are the ones that gave us the chronic disease epidemic. We're the unhealthiest population on the face.
The miracles are still on the market. They haven't reformed anything. Like, what are you talking about, Bobby Kennedy Jr.? Like, seriously, dude, what are you talking about? You removed synthetic food dyes. What else did they? Not much. You know what I mean? Not much. The major issue and why you got put in there was to reform the miracles, and that's not happening. Maha. Oh, but now medical schools have to learn about nutrition. That's a little tiny golf clap that I can't even hear because it's so ridiculous. More from Bobby Kennedy Jr. here.
They presided over the biggest decline in health in the history of the world. We now have the sickest generation in history. We have the sickest population on the face of the earth. That is a failure of government. They weren't.
And we already know the miracles are playing a major role in this, but we can't touch it. We can't touch it, right? Well, then why do we elect you? Why do you have Maha? Give me a break. Fraud within our healthcare system. The Rockefeller medicine in and of itself is a fraud, but we're going to hear about fraud in the medical system here now.
We are being victimized in our country because of the laxity of vigilance by the Biden administration, the deliberate, purposeful suspension.
I love that. We blame it all on Biden. No, this is problem's been going on 100 years, man.
Program integrity by the Biden administration Fraud has become rife without our system, across our system. We estimate the cost of it to the American taxpayer is about $100 billion a year. If we stop fraud just in Medicare, we can extend that program for another 5 years.
$100 billion in Medicare fraud. I'm sure glad to be paying that FICA tax, aren't you? Love it, bro. I don't want nothing they got, but they don't give you a choice, right? Because all they're selling is garbage. So here's their achievements, they say. Not achievement in my mind, but under Trump administration, Bobby Kennedy Jr., Secretary of Health and Human Services, and Dr. Markery, head of the FDA, they're proud about this. Excuse me, they say they've achieved a record number of approvals for 67 new therapeutics, 39 new medical devices, and 91 new generic drugs. Let's get off all this. How about none of that would be a win to me, in my mind? How about let's don't do drugs, kids? But hey, we got all this garbage that is not helping anybody, but it's making Rockefeller Medicine a boatload of money. Not a great achievement in my mind at all. Health and Human Services, we reported on this, but they put it out again today to remind everybody, so we'll report on it again. Health and Human Services is teaming up with ARPA-H, the STOMP program. HHS is taking on microplastics, how we measure them, study their impact, and remove them safely from the human body. But government can't do this alone. We want to fund your ideas. Really. HHS is calling on the best innovators in the private sector to step up and be part of the solution. And they're calling for innovator. They'll probably whack you, steal your intellectual property. But they're saying here, join us April 22nd at ARPA-H Proposers Day for the STOMP program. So, I wouldn't trust these bastards at all. I'm sorry, but that's the way it is, and that's the way it's going to be. But if you feel like you want to deal with these maniacs and have a solution to the microplastics problem, there you go. There you go, bro. ARPA-H. All right, more from Clown World Trump here. He says, I'm pleased to announce that new leadership of the CDC it is my honor to nominate the incredibly talented Dr. Erica Schwartz, MD, JD, MPH, as my director of CDC. So all these big degrees, right? Heavily indoctrinated, I'm sure. And it's going to be more of the same. It's going to be more of the same. Yeah, so highly credentialed, no doubt. But it's the same establishment BS, not reform. Aaron Siri had to say this about Erica Schwartz. I guess that's how you pronounce it. Schwartz, spelled kind of funky. Aaron Siri, the lawyer that works with Del Bigtree's outfit, Highwire, and he actually has got some positive public health reform, right? But he said that she'll likely be a disaster. She led the nationwide bat miracle development, and her long track record of directly issuing rights-crushing civilian and military miracle mandates, including mandating miracles of smallpox, anthrax, and flu miracles for U.S. armed forces, and disciplining those that refused. So you have no informed consent. You have no medical freedom under this tyrant. Reflects she lacks the basic ethics and morals to lead the CDC. Well, we wouldn't have anybody else there, right? And of course, ethics and morals are a conspiracy theory to these mad scientists. Thank you very much with your big degrees. Foster care. The Biden administration was excluding an entire class of people because of their religious beliefs and instructed states to pass laws refusing families that had certain religious beliefs, mainly Christian beliefs, from fostering children. And so now they're saying they're reforming that again. Man, felt bad for these kids, but thinking that this government's going to help them, not so much. They'll probably feed them into the trafficking networks. This one was funny. It's just stupid, but Gavin Newsom's office back here in my state of California has confirmed that California is giving free sex change surgeries to homeless illegal aliens. Like what? So our tax money here in California is paying for sex change operations for homeless illegal aliens. Now, you can't make this stuff up. It sounds just wow. So that's why I appreciate paying my taxes to the great state of California, so illegal alien homeless can have their body parts removed due to their gender dysphoria. We are in a dystopic nightmare here now. What are they talking about? State-funded breast implants and artificial vaginas and penises. Ay, ay, ay. Okay, continuing here. Where are we at? We're on the economic section of the show. The economic section of the show here. And they're blasting out how wonderful the tax returns are. BS. They had to steal it from you before you could get it back. This government is a pack of criminals. Mike Johnson said today, he said, this is a tax season unlike any other because three big things are happening: lower taxes, bigger refunds, and more money in the pockets of hardworking Americans as they continue to devalue our dollar with insane spending and lie to our face and say there's no inflation. And so there you go. Elizabeth Warren, she says, if you paid even a penny in federal income tax last year, you paid more than Tesla, Southwest, Disney, Live Nation, HP, United, PayPal, CVS, Health, Palantir, that's my favorite, Palantir, Citigroup, another big favorite, PG&E, another big favorite for me here in California, 3M, that's right, they all paid zero federal income tax. Yeah. What was the report yesterday from Fortune magazine? They said 88 major multinational corporations paid zero income tax. Yeah, because the tax code's written for them because they have the money to pay for lobbyists to go bribe Congress essentially to write a tax code that's favorable to them. And so if you don't like it, buy your own congressman, I guess, right? But Joe Blow citizen, you and I, taxpayer, we have no representation whatsoever in our beloved democracy, which is actually turning very fast into a corporate fascist dictatorship, scientific dictatorship, technocracy. Continuing here, here's a post from Catherine Austin Fitz. We'll play the clip and then read what she's saying. She's saying the great taking is being announced by Larry Fink here now. Digitization equals centralized control. And so, yeah, he tells you here. Take a listen to BlackRock CEO, everybody's favorite Fink, Larry Fink here.
I would say the biggest question from central banks is, what is the role of tokenization and digitization? How quickly should they think about digitizing their own currency? What does that mean for the role of the dollar? If every currency digitizes and we have it, what does that mean for bank payments? What does that mean for the payment companies like MasterCard and Visa? All these are being questioned right now. I think we spend so much time talking about AI. We're not spending enough time talking about how quickly we're going to tokenize every financial asset and the opportunity.
How quickly we're going to tokenize every financial asset. That's it right there.
We're going to have a digital wallet and moving ETFs and other things through a digital wallet. And I think that's going to happen worldwide very rapidly. And I think most countries are ill-prepared for that and underappreciate how technology is changing that, not unlike how technology is changing AI and other things. It will be changing the technology around the
plumbing. They want programmable digital money, all of your assets on the blockchain, and they will, the great taking, as Catherine Austin Fitts says, this is it. Here's a little bit more from her about the digital ID as well, programmable digital currency. And if you say that I don't like Trump, guess what? Your account balance is zero, you see, or whoever the next dictator is.
All the great work that you have done in health and all the great work you have done in food to preserve food and health freedoms, the minute they get financial transaction control, they will delete all of it. They will negate all of it. They will reverse all of it. Financial control and controlling the financial transaction train tracks is the meta control that they will use to control food and health. So I don't care what you're doing in the food and health area. If these guys get 100% digital system with a digital ID and programmable money, guess what? They're going to dictate, you don't get your vaccine this month, they're going to turn off your money. You don't transgender your kid, they're going to turn off your money. Wow. They're going to dictate all of your health and food policies to you. So we did a wonderful report in Solari called Pharma Food on lab-grown meat and essentially artificial food. And when I read it, I couldn't understand, how do they think they're going to market this? And that's when I realized, programmable money is how they're
going to ram technocracy down our throat. They already are. More bullshit out of the White House. They say delivering generational wealth one account at a time. Over 5 million families have already opened a Trump account. $1,000 in a Trump account if a kid's born between 2025 and 2028 is somehow, to these liars, going to create generational wealth. So watch, again, America's losing the propaganda war.
You are doing great. Keep going.
Steady. Keep looking forward.
I'm riding.
We are so proud of you. I'm ready to go.
We are so proud of you.
We love you, kid.
Love you too. Hi, I'm Jack. I don't think I have seen you here before.
Hi.
I can't wait for you to finally meet them.
So nice to meet you. It's positive. We're having a baby.
Oh my gosh, really? Yes.
bullshit. You're not going to get all that money putting $1,000 in a Trump saving account. I want nothing to do with it because they got strings attached, you see. Better believe it. Foreclosure surge sweeps America. 118,000 homes at risk as families buckle under financial strain. A fresh wave of foreclosures is sweeping across the United States with more than 118,000 homes caught up in the crisis in just the first 3 months of 2026. New Adam data shows 118,727 properties were hit with a foreclosure filing in the first quarter of 2026, up 26% from 2025. It's the golden age of homelessness. But if you're in California, I guess if you're homeless, you can, but you got to be an illegal to get state-funded sex change. I don't know. But hey, be homeless and get a sex change in California. It'd be awesome, man. State will pay for it. QVC and HSN owner files for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. So the home shopping channel is bankrupt because people are poor and don't have money to spend. What the hell? It's the golden age. There you go. The Pentagon is asking companies like General Motors and Ford Motor Company to help boost U.S. weapons production as conflicts strain military supplies. We're becoming a wartime economy here now with maniacs running things at the Pentagon. This is not healthy for the economy at all, for Joe Blow, you and me, citizens. Officials are exploring whether manufacturers can shift some factory capacity to produce munitions and equipment similar to World War II era industrial mobilization. We're gearing up for war with straight on direct war with China and Russia here now. Quite horrific. Only 28% of small business owners now say U.S. economy is in good health, according to them. That's a headline out of Fortune magazine. So Fortune magazine's been dropping some pretty hard economic truths lately. They may have to be silenced. Tariff-battered American companies are so cash-starved they are using refund claims as collateral for loans. Excuse me, the dog had a little bark there. Let me read that headline again. Tariff-battered American companies are so cash-starved they're using refund claims as collateral for loans. Report out of Fortune magazine. Let me find a clip here so I can let the dog out. Pardon me for that. No, just more headline. Here's Trump on. Trump says gas prices are not very high. Does he have to pay for it? No. Flies around on his helicopters and jets. We're trying to figure out how to put fuel in the car to go to work, to pay taxes, to buy more fuel, to go to work, to pay taxes, and so on. And here's Trump in his disconnected elitist bubble saying, yeah, it's fine, because he doesn't give a damn about you and I.
Prices. How much longer will Americans continue to see these high gas prices?
Well, they're not very high. If you look at what they were supposed to be in order to get rid of a nuclear weapon with the danger that entails. So the gas prices have come down very much over the last 3-4 days. I know, and that's what ABC says. But the fact is that if you look at the stock market's up, everything's doing really well. And the big thing we have to do is we have to make sure that Iran does not have a nuclear weapon.
It's just tired, played out. It's a lie. It's a lie. So you Joe Blow, American citizen, can't afford gas or food, but the mythical Iranian nuke program takes precedent over you eating, you see. And they've never provided any evidence whatsoever, except for a report from Kushner and freaking Witkoff and Rubio that we're going to be nuked in 2 weeks. And from Netanyahu, the same BS we've been hearing for the last freaking 40, 50 years. The average price for a gallon of gasoline, according to AAA, as we check in every day here now, it has went down a little bit. It hasn't went down a little bit, but we're still over $4. We're looking at $4.09 today, and that's down about 1 cent from yesterday. And you could see a trend of it going down like 1 cent a day this week. Whoop-de freaking do. It's still over $4, and here in California we're pushing $6, right? $4.86 on average, and then that's your regular petrol, not diesel. Diesel's pushing like $7.50, $8 a gallon here in California, and that's going to be passed on to the consumer for everything that's shipped. Basically, takes diesel. Trump don't care though, because God forbid Iran have a nuke in 2 weeks for the last 50 years. Europe has made 6 weeks. Report out of AP, Europe has maybe 6 weeks of jet fuel left. Energy agency head warns. Maybe 6 weeks, they say. IEA executive director Baral says that, maybe 6 weeks. So we're going to get to net zero one way or another. Blow up 20% of the world's energy infrastructure is the fastest way, and they've done that. And so now we're looking at net zero one way or another. We're going to get there. All right, that's the economic news we have for today. It's a grim outlook for Joe Blow, me and you. I guess if you're a military industrial complex company or Rockefeller Oil, you're swimming in money. But the rest of us, we're hurting real bad over here. Trump don't give a damn. Because the stock market's up, you see. We're like I forget all the numbers, but a small percentage of Americans are profiting from that, and it ain't you and me. Believe it. All right, we got a little Epstein reporting today. Honestly, I didn't have much time, and it's true, right? It's true. The Iran war took us off the Epstein story. If I didn't have to spend the majority of my time figuring out about how many people they're killing in the Iran war, then I could focus more on Epstein story, right? But this is taking up the large majority of the time because it's kind of serious when they're whacking people right now, ongoing. You know what I mean? Peace, bro. But back to, and it's taking us off the Epstein story when that should be the main focus here. Epstein files, Trump bombs Iran. What a coincidence. Because they were gonna nuke us in 2 weeks. But again, to reiterate, because I remember back in Me Too when this came out and then it went away, we're not going to let it go away again. Congress is covering up its own sex harassment, right? And per Nancy Mace, 365 members of Congress voted against exposing our taxpayer money, what it's being used for in these slush funds to cover up for Congress sexual abuse. Congress is a pack of sex offenders. Don't ever forget it. Don't let them brush us under the rug and move on. That's who these people are. DOJ is investigating Eric Swallowswell over sexual misconduct allegation. The woman said he drugged her and raped her. That's a soft headline out of The Hill. And what the DOJ are actively covering up the Epstein files right now. So let me tell you, they really care about women's rights and enforcing justice on rapists. Here's Trump about disrespecting Epstein victims here. He says the victims or whatever, he's part of it. He is deep part of it, man.
Pakistan. So I make them. They want me.
The First Lady last week called on Congress to further look into and uncover the truth on the Epstein files, the Epstein saga. Do you believe that there should be a public hearing for more of these Epstein survivors?
I'm okay with it. I think we've had a lot of public hearings. I'm okay with it, but I understand that the women didn't want to go under oath. That's what I heard. That the women.
That's funny right there. Yeah, the Dow's under 50. Trump, go arrest the co-conspirators. Oh, you would have to turn yourself in. Oh, I see.
The victims, or whatever, they refused to go under oath, which was a little surprising. So Melania felt strongly about it because she was accused of that I met.
He's denying that he met Melania through Epstein. I think it's been established that indeed Zampoli at his Kit Kat party, and it's pretty well documented that that's how they met, through Epstein. As Trump continues to lie about it. Epstein had his victims read Story of O, a book about conditioning someone to internalize submission until it feels voluntary, even like freedom. In his messages, he reinforces the same idea. There's a bunch of messages, but I don't think we'll go through them today. In Trump's book, How to Get Rich, published in 2004, Trump describes a, quote, mystery Jeffrey who could get by on just his first name. He says that alone put him up there with Elvis. Which Jeffrey is he referring to? Jeffrey Epstein? Here's a page out of that book. How to Get Rich. Oh, sell your soul to Satan and the Rothschilds. There you go. You don't even need to read the book. There you go. I just gave you the quick pass to getting rich. Quick. Sell your soul to Satan. Epstein had a section of his foundation called Epstein AI. It funded artificial intelligence research, backed laboratories, and supported scientists working on machine learning cognition. And I think we went over a little bit of this with William Ramsey, but yeah. Epstein's AI. Epstein AI. Epstein AI projects. There you go. Epstein AI has played a key role in furthering AI research at MIT's artificial intelligence labs. The labs are still overseen by an eminent AI cognitive scientist, Marvin Minsky, and stand at the forefront of AI cognitive and neural research. Yeah, they're working on MK Ultra mind control programs continually. Now they're upping it with throwing AI into the mix. All right, that's all the Epstein we got today. Again, I only have so much, there's only so much time in the day, right? And so I do realize that that this Iran war has taken much attention off of Epstein, and no co-conspirators in America have been charged with anything. It's an ongoing conspiracy and cover-up by the Department of Justice. We will continue to report as the story develops here and call for justice for the victims. Okay, where are we at? Congress acts like there's something. House narrowly defeats war powers resolution. And there was one in the Senate yesterday that went down. So the Congress doesn't want to take responsibility because they're a bunch of sex offenders. Probably has something to do with it. I don't know. They're all blackmailed, compromised. And so we continue with Congress not doing its constitutional duties here. And so the final vote was 213 to 214. So Congress doesn't want to force Trump to stop the war with Iran, which is their constitutional duty. Why do we have a Congress even? You know what I mean? Why do we have a Congress? So they can sex harass interns? Apparently so. Apparently so. Okay, Assistant Secretary of War, Mike Dodd, he's put out this post about directed energy weapons. He says, our investment in directed energy weapons is paying off. Laser weapon systems will be a game changer for counter U.S. missions to protect our forces, our border, and our people. This is more than a technical achievement. It is a big step forward in defending against hostile drones. Insomnia, Arviseria Nortoros, something there in Latin. But there's an image. Pretty sure that's AI, but yeah, they're just openly talking about directed energy weapons now at the Department of War. And the extrajudicial assassinations, which are murder, continue, carried out by U.S. Southern Command yesterday. Yesterday, U.S. Southern Command, part of Operation Southern Sphere, conducted a lethal kinetic strike on an alleged narco-trafficking drug vessel. 3 alleged narco-trafficking men were killed. Here it is. Again, no charges, no evidence, just claims. And you get a death sentence. No due process. And again, for everybody cheering this, realize the fact they can point the finger at you and me and say, you're a narco drug trafficking terrorist, and whack you and me the same way. And there'll be no one to say, hey, that's murder, like I'm doing right here, right now, because it is murder. And again, if they're the worst criminals in the world, arrest them, bring the evidence to court, prove your case. You're not allowed to just murder people. But yet the U.S. military is doing it almost on a daily basis here now. Yeah, we're expanding major operations south to South America, part of Operation Southern Spear. Here's a video from Southcom about that as we're building the Greater North America Project. And we'll take all South America and call it North America. Call you a terrorist if you say different. See that right there? Vigilant, lethal, resolute. Right there. We're taking all this. We're taking it all. We got a lot of operations going on in South America, by the way, right now. They're training. U.S. Southcom is training U.S. Army Green Berets to establish generational partnerships with South American counterparts in Central and South America. They say in this post, there's a short video of them walking through the jungle. So that's going to be fun, is to go fight a bunch of more jungle wars all of Vietnam. I guess it's better than the desert, no?
Rapport is everything. Being the partner of choice essentially for them when conflict arises.
3, 2, 1.
Las Fuerzas Especiales de los Estados Unidos, el socio preferible.
So operations going on there. I think we have some more. Yeah, members of the Infantería de Marina of El Salvador conduct a tactical search and seizure training mission with U.S. military, U.S. Southcom. So there's ongoing operations there and training. Here's an image of that. Part of Operation Southern Sphere, again, which seeks to enhance capability, improve interpretability, and strengthen maritime partnerships with countries throughout the region through joint multinational and interagency exchanges and cooperations. Meme of the day from the Department of War here. Drone dominance. Department of War times U.S. War Research and isn't that, I don't even know what the E stands for. Unapologetic American drone dominance. No hesitation, no mercy. That's good of them to just go around murdering people with drones. Another meme of the day from Department of War. Moving fast for the warfighter, putting tech into their hands. Our military will continue to dominate any domain of warfare. Warfare? Military industrial complex welfare. Excuse me. And we reported on this when it first came out, but Department of War is reminding us this is spotted at the Pentagon. I want you to use AI. Go to genai.mil. So is Skynet live? I don't know. We're getting close. We're getting real close. If it's not live already, let's hear from Department of War Undersecretary Emil Michael. And remember, he is part of the reorganization of the strategic blah, blah. I forget even. But remember, they pared it down to 6 critical areas. We reported on it here that the Department of War is now using to streamline and warp speed AI, essentially, and other technologies. Here is Undersecretary Michael.
Yeah, I mean, I think the genesis of what Palantir does is an orchestration layer on top of data streams data that we put in it and say, here's the data we would normally use for any battlefield operation, plus an AI to help you synthesize it. So all those things are combined and they provide the visualization.
But there's not like a chatbot on the side window, which is like lay out a list of targets that I want to hit. Here's my objective is to win this war. What are my targets?
It's not a Skynet thing. Like, no,
okay.
It is a tool like any other tool that you might have on your computer or in your war room. Or
I can't believe he said that. He said it's not a Skynet thing. That means it is a Skynet thing. Wow. Let's hear that again.
It is a tool like like any other tool that you might have on your computer or in your war room or
Go back a little bit.
Or what are my targets?
It's not like it's not a Skynet thing. Like, no,
okay,
it is a tool. Like,
that's pretty amazing. The Undersecretary of the Army just said that, right? Or the Department of War.
Like any other tool that you might have on your computer or in your war room or with your team, except it's on your computer visualized. But you still have checks and balances. You still have to get all the authorities you need to do anything. It surfaces the choices in a way that's more consumable. If that makes sense,
right?
Yeah.
Dude, I think Skynet's getting pretty damn close to live here. More, and that he just throws out, "Oh, it's not Skynet." Really, dude? Really? More from Undersecretary Michael here.
It seems that models that are trained on code can learn vulnerabilities in code, is what these companies are saying, and that presents risk and opportunity. Yeah, I mean, they're obviously, what you've heard in the news yourself, and it's been released about the cyber capabilities that are almost here, are certainly going to come from every frontier model company at some point. Certainly going to be,
Isn't it awesome? We have frontier AI model companies all racing to build autonomous weapon systems, i.e. Skynet. Isn't it wonderful?
Try to be distilled by the adversaries, are going to be, the next wave of innovation from these.
Oh yeah, it's an innovation, all right. This one, I think this clip, they throw the Palantir dude in here, giving the presentation about how wonderful, how efficient their killing is.
A program called Maven Smart System, which is the Pentagon's core tech platform. Looks like, I'm pretty sure it was called Target Workbench. Mm-hmm. And this is where they select targets and then end up going and sending. Seems like they use the word action for them. My understanding is they end up going and trying to and sending the attacks to these targets through this system. So the way he described it is it's this single unified visualization that allows you to.
This is Palantir software. You can see right there in this demo that they're showing. This is technocracy. This is Skynet. This is Palantir.
Look at live images and then be able to select targets.
Well, that, and then imagine the context around that. Where are my assets? Where are my planes, my boats? What might happen if you took that action? What might be the reaction? Subsuming all that information, but still having a human make the decision at the end means that you're increasing the human context window is one way to think about it, right? When you talk about context windows in AI, well, think about a human that's trying to absorb all this information and make the best decision they can. If you could synthesize that information so they can make that decision, and you're using more sources by definition, almost, the data and choices are going to be.
How long until that human is taken out of the equation? If there's even a human now. With the Palantir Maven Smart System, they just showed you they put the cursor over your car, push the button, the drone comes and whacks you. Damn, dude. Skynet, we're getting close. If it's not already live and autonomous, we're getting close. Aardvarkland mega donor, Miriam Adelson, everybody's favorite American hero that has helped undermine American national sovereignty and hitched our wagon to genocidal maniacs out of Aardvarkland. She went ahead and gave another $40 million to Republican super PACs for midterm elections. They're going to lose anyway. It don't matter. Give them $50 billion. She gave $40 million. Give them $40 trillion. It don't matter. They're going to lose. They're going to lose because of Trump here now. Russia-Ukraine war still going on. Zelensky, the unelected dictator, when's the last time? Like we're like 2 years now. It's like 2 years since Ukraine had an election, isn't it? Something like that. He's still there. How's Russia not assassinated him? You know what I mean? Makes you wonder. Like they're all working together or something here. Zelensky requests support for the launch of war crimes tribunals against Russia. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. That's what he's calling for today. Zelensky, this is hilarious. I guess we'll play you this clip. Zelensky receives the International Four Freedoms Award, named after U.S. President Roosevelt's 1941 speech outlining 4 fundamental human rights. Laughable.
This award is for your country, for you as president, and for all the Ukrainian people.
Ridiculous. And got an award for killing Russians. Wow. What an achievement. It's horrific. They need to stop that war. They need to stop that war for sure. Listen to this delusional congressman. Troy Niels compares President Trump to Jesus Christ, saying he is almost like the second coming of him. So with these statements, this guy needs to be impeached and removed. He needs to be recalled because he's clearly delusional. He's out of a representative out of Texas.
I do. I believe that Donald Trump is better than sliced bread. I think he's almost the second coming, in my humble opinion. I think he's done a fantastic job. He's got a very difficult job. Pope's got a tough job, got issues in the church. But Donald Trump has a very, very difficult job to do, the toughest job in the world, and the way he is performing and what he is doing to provide safety and security, not only for the people in this great country of ours, but for the entire world, the globe. He's changing the globe. He wants.
There you go. As per usual, we voted for Trump to be police of the world, and he's likened to the second coming. These people are out of their minds. Here's Tucker on Trump and the whole Jesus meme. Oh, sorry, he's a doctor. Oh, the picture was doctor. What? Oh.
What statement is the president sending? Well, not a coherent one. Doesn't actually add up to a theology. It's mockery. He's mocking Jesus. He's making fun of Christianity. The central figure of the religion is being held up for mockery, of course. And his description of how this got out is itself mockery of the idea of truth. One day he says, yeah, I did it. Next day he says, no, I didn't do it. Both are on video. That's not really a lie. It's more than a lie. It's bigger than a lie. It's an attack not just on a specific set of facts. It's an attack on the idea that there are facts. It's an attack on truth. Openly.
That's true. He attacked Tucker again. Oh, yeah, here it is. And I don't care if he attacks Tucker or any of these people, really, but man, take a look at this post. Who's dumber, Tucker Carlson or Joe Kent? And he gets personal. He says the first time he met Joe Kent was when he was at Dover burying his wife. Right? And then he goes on to say Joe Kent's a loser, lost 2 elections, a leaker. Don't know whether or not that was true, but next time, no more Mr. Nice Guy. Kent is a loser. Kent's like a decorated war veteran. He's basically Captain America. You know what I mean? And for Trump to be talking all this shit about him, and he told the truth too. He said, along with the rest of the intelligence community, he was head of the counterterrorism task force in the under the director of national intelligence, right? And they all said Iran is not an imminent nuclear threat to America. You see, and that's the big rub here now. Don't bomb them because you're doing it on behalf of Aardvark land and Bibi and not to protect American security. And that's the truth. Trump can't handle it. And so he lashes out that old Joe Kent is a big loser, a decorated American war veteran. The Pope, the falling outs. There's been some falling outs here now. Should the Pope be sanctioned and droned by Trump? I don't know. Maybe. He is in Italy. Maybe we have to wipe out all of Italy. The big falling out with Meloni, the Pope. You got to take care of these people. As the Pope calls for world peace, the Pope said, Jesus told us, blessed are the peacemakers, but woe to those who manipulate religion in the very name of God for their own military, economic, and political gain, dragging that which is sacred into darkness and filth, i.e. Trump, i.e. all these Christian Zionists, i.e. Pete Hegseth, i.e. all these clowns. And I'm not Catholic, and I don't particularly like the Pope, but he's laying down some hard truths here. Pope Leo warns tyrants are ravaging the world. I think we have that clip. Let's audio's real low on it. Yeah, the audio's real low, but again, Pope Leo the 14th said the world's being ravaged by a handful of tyrants. Indeed, it's correct. Pope Leo went on to say, the masters of war pretend not to know that it takes only a moment to destroy, yet often a lifetime is often not enough to rebuild. Iran rebuilds pretty damn quick. They turn a blind eye to the fact that billions of dollars are spent on killing, on devastation, yet the resources needed for healing, education, and restoration are nowhere to be found. Here's some better audio where we will hear this clip from the Pope. And it's laying down some hard truths here.
The masters of war pretend not to know that it takes only a moment to destroy. Yet often, a lifetime is often not enough to rebuild. They turn a blind eye to the fact that billions of dollars are spent on killing, on devastation, yet the resources needed for healing, education, and restoration are nowhere to be found.
Sounds like the Pope's a terrorist to me, right? Pope Leo calls out those who manipulate religion and the very name of God. Looking at you, Pete Hegseth. And what's Trump's reply to this? Trump yanks millions of dollars from Catholic charities. It should have been yanked before. They're a big part of the human trafficking network here in America and around the world. The Trump administration canceled an $11 million contract with Catholic charities in Miami that housed unaccompanied migrant children. The move comes amid tensions between Trump and Pope Leo. over issues like immigration and U.S. foreign policy, according to a report out of the Miami Herald. Yeah, he should have pulled that money a long time ago because, again, they're part of the trafficking. Another clip from Tucker here. He says, this is what Trump's true religion is. Trump's a dark occultist, Satanist, okay? But maybe someday Tucker will figure this out.
What is the civic religion of the United States? What's the religion of the U.S. government? What's the religion, honestly, of Donald Trump? It's not Christianity, clearly. It's Israelism. It's the defense of Israel. What?
It's not. It's Satanism. But maybe those two are the same, pretty damn close, I would say. So maybe it is the same. Here's Cooper now. This guy is the head of U.S. Central Command. I get him and Kane confused. Cooper Kane. Kane is the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and Cooper is the commander of U.S. Central Command. Anyhow, here's what he had to say.
And there's been no better teammate than Israel. Together, the four best air forces in the world, the Israeli Air Force, the U.S. Air Force, and the air forces of the U.S. Navy and U.S. Marine Corps, together met and exceeded our own.
I don't know, man. Joe Kent and other veterans have said when they went on, they can't fight on the ground, at least maybe when they're doing air attacks. But they said on the ground, you can't fight with aardvark soldiers because they don't have any freaking morality and they have a different objective for the mission, putting American soldiers at risk. Again, with the Italy. Trump says Italy wasn't there for us. We won't be there for them. Maybe we start a bombing campaign against Italy and take out Maloney and the Pope at the same time. All for aardvark lands, for evil. Trump's not happy with Australia. Says I'm not happy with Australia because they were not there for us at the Strait of Hormuz. What's going on in Syria? Syria declares end of U.S. mission as last troops leave country. So now, think of that disaster. Now, Syria's fully run by al-Shara, freaking Al-Qaeda, ISIS. But I guess he's reformed and a good-looking young man now, according to Trump. So what was all of it for? Syrian government forces took control of the last U.S. base in the country today in a move that marked the end of U.S. occupation of the country under the pretext of fighting ISIS. Now ISIS runs the country. The Syrian military moved into the Quasar base in Hasakah Governorate in northeastern Syria today following the U.S. withdrawal. The U.S. withdrew from its bases in Shadi Dadi in eastern Syria and Al-Taf on the Syria-Jordan-Iraqi border in February. The Syrian Foreign Ministry said Washington had decided to complete its military mission in the country. The Syrian state is today fully capable of leading counterterrorism efforts from within in cooperation with the international community because the terrorists now run the country. U.S. Central Command announced it had completed the process of turning over all of our major bases in Syria to terrorists. Wow. Oh, I guess they're reformed terrorists. Excuse reform terrorist. Yeah. So now expect Aardvark land to take a chunk of Syria there as part of the greater Aardvark land project. Better believe it. You better believe it. Syria says it takes full control of all former U.S. military bases in Syria. Germany, and many say they did not see this coming. I saw it coming because I knew. But anyhow, Italy's backed off arming Aardvark land. Germany has approved millions in arm sales to Aardvark land. So there you go. Russia threatens to strike Aardvark land-based drone production firm. Haifa-based firm identified as supplying critical communication modules for drones, according to Russia, which it claims such components enable remote control systems used by Ukraine's unmanned aircraft. Imagine that. So imagine if Russia whacks one of these Aardvark firms that's helping out the Ukraine war effort. Imagine that. That would be something. Western intelligence says Iran blunted the impact of U.S. Aardvark land strikes through pre-war planning. While it suffered heavy infrastructure damage and lost top leaders, it preserved key missile and drone capabilities and maintained command structures by quickly replacing officials. Iran also retained significant missile and drone reserves, suggesting it could still respond if fighting resumes. Yeah. We wiped them all out. No, we didn't. So how is U.S. morale there in the armed forces? I don't know. Here's what they're eating. Maybe Bobby Kennedy Jr. needs to talk some nutrition to the U.S. military here. They get some shredded beef and a single folded tortilla. And this is from, here's another post. That looks a little bit more. So this is before you go die. They give you some lobster and steak. And then when you're out there on the mission, you get a piece of cardboard and maybe some carrots. I guess those are carrots. And what's that? Another piece of cardboard. So there you go. How it started and where they're at now. But the morale has never been higher, let me tell you. This one, did you know, this was a post by Information Liberation, Chris Meehan, who's doing great work following the Aardvark land conspiracy, which you're a crazy person if you believe in, but they do have weekly meetings and continuing meetings in all these Aardvark groups forming a conspiracy. We're not allowed to talk about it. Do you know, he said, did you know the Conference of Presidents of major American Aardvark land organizations on behalf of the ADL, American Aardvark Committee, and other Aardvark groups, but there is no Aardvark conspiracy, you see, told Congress in 2024 that FISA was needed for the safety and security of Aardvark land. So imagine that. Imagine that. We have to spy on you, violate your Fourth Amendment right, and do tyranny on you, essentially, here in America, all for the safety and security of Aardvark land. Amazing. And now Trump fully supports it. Again, they use FISA Section 702 to legally spy on Trump and his campaign now and spy on every other American. But since it's needed for the safety and security of Aardvark land, you have no rights. Amazing. Continuing here, they're very sad. 11-year-old. 11-year-old, was it a boy or girl? Boy. 11-year-old boy. Salih Badwali, shot and killed. They're in Gaza. They're stacking bodies of Palestinians every day, man. There is no ceasefire. So one Palestinian dead and 8 injured in the last 24 hours. They're in Gaza, according to the Gaza Ministry of Health. The genocide continues. Just like there's no ceasefire in Gaza, there's no ceasefire in Lebanon. And we're on day 48 of the Iran war. This story keeps going. It's just so egregious, so over the top that it's hard to believe it's true, but it is true. Aardvark land army officially reinstates soldiers caught on tape raping Palestinian prisoner. These characters right here, they're so proud they have to, wear their masks. But they're celebrated as great heroes all over Aardvark land television in the government. Report out of the Cradle, they go on to say Aardvark land chief of staff Zamir approved the return of 5-unit 100 soldiers charged with the rape and torture of Palestinian detainee at Said Tiananmen prison to active military service, even though investigations into their crimes remain incomplete. Haaretz reported the decision allows reservists implicated in the assault to resume service, while the military says its internal inquiry will be completed soon, adding that the investigation does not prevent them from serving in the reserves. The Aardvark land soldiers who gang raped a Palestinian detainee held a press conference boasting that they are all free. They proudly declared, "We prevail," as the Aardvark land army's military prosecutor who dared to investigate the case. Didn't she go missing? I'm going to read the rest of that. I believe she went missing. Investigator, who dared to investigate their case, an investigation that led nowhere due to pressure from the chief of staff, the defense minister, and Netanyahu. She allegedly leaked the video of the rape to the media. She has now been placed under detention on charges of obstructing the investigation after attempting suicide yesterday during the rapist's press conference. She was dismissed from her position, defamed publicly, and is currently under investigation. That was back in November 3rd, 2025. So imagine that. You're the prosecutor and you're like, wow, these guys are extra special evil. Maybe they shouldn't be out there in military service. And you're the bad one for saying, like, they're insane, right? It's insane. You would think you would want soldiers fit for duty, not bloodthirsty rapists. Like, no, but that's Aardvark land for you. That's their mindset. Anybody that is not of that bloodthirsty Stone Age homicidal mindset is persona non grata. You're out. The Ultra-Zionists say in the occupied West Bank, right? They say God gave us this land. Retired Aardvark land official recount state-funded ethnic cleansing campaign in the West Bank. It's a war crime, a crime against humanity. Yeah, because they got to take all that land for greater aardvark land. And one of the show's favorite here, Christian Zionist pastor John Hagee says Jesus Christ is coming back to the world as a aardvark rabbi. Let's take a listen to this blasphemy of nonsense.
The patriarchs, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, are all Jewish people. The prophets, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Daniel, Hosea, Joel, Amos, Haggai, Zechariah, Malachi, all Jews, not a Baptist in the bunch. The first family of Christianity, Mary, Joseph, and Jesus, Jewish. Jesus kept the law of Moses. Jesus said, "Do not think that I've come to destroy the law, but to fulfill the law." He celebrated his bar mitzvah at the age of 13. He wore a prayer shawl from that day until the day he died. He was buried in that prayer shawl. He's going to return to the earth in the second coming as a Jew. How do you know that? Because the book of Revelation says, "Behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah." Judah is the root word for the word Jew. Jesus Christ is coming back, a Jewish rabbi. He's going to rule and reign over this earth, and God bless his holy name.
And they also, one of these characters said, Jesus is a Zionist. It's like, wow, man, you guys are gone, man. All right, friends, let's wrap up this broadcast with a report here now, put out yesterday by Greg Reese, Nuclear Ambiguity and the Samson Option. Let's watch this report to wrap up today's show. And then I'll go to comments and see what you guys are saying. Thanks for hanging with us and commenting.
The Shimon Peres Negev Nuclear Research Center, otherwise known as DIMONA, is the cornerstone of Israel's undeclared nuclear weapons program. Construction began in secret in 1958 with the help of France, which helped build Israel a 24-megawatt heavy water reactor as part of a clandestine weapons program. Believed to have been completed in 1965, with their first functional nuclear device produced before June of 1967. When U.S. officials first inquired about the site, Israeli representatives described it as a textile plant, a metallurgical research installation, and a pumping station. When American inspectors were eventually granted limited access in 1965, Israeli engineers installed temporary false walls and physically blocked entire sections of the underground complex. The inspectors reported to Washington that their visits were useless and inspections ended in 1969. Photographic evidence leaked by Israeli technician Mordecai Vanunu in 1986, from which experts estimated a stockpile of 100 to 200 nuclear devices, confirmed that Israel had developed thermonuclear bomb capability. After leaking this information, Vanunu was kidnapped by Mossad and sentenced to 18 years in prison. Israel's policy of amamut, the Hebrew word for ambiguity, combines three elements: the strict secrecy about the program's existence, refraining from testing, and the managed leakage of evidence to allow Israel threat capabilities without ever making an official admission. The veiled threat, repeated by successive Israeli prime ministers, has been Israel will not be the first country to introduce nuclear weapons into the Middle East. In November 1968, the Israeli ambassador formally informed the U.S. State Department that Israel's understanding of introducing weapons meant testing, deploying, or making them public, and that merely possessing weapons did not constitute introduction. NUMEC, the Nuclear Materials and Equipment Corporation, was a nuclear fuel processing facility in Apollo, Pennsylvania, that processed highly enriched uranium for the U.S. Navy. It was established in part by chemist Zalman Shapiro, who also served as president of the Pittsburgh chapter of the Zionist Organization of America. On September 10, 1968, 4 Israeli nationals arrived at the Numek plant as personal guests of Shapiro. 2 leading members of Mossad, a Shin Bet operative, and the head of Israel's nuclear weapons program. According to declassified records, the CIA assessed that Israel had received highly enriched uranium from Numek and used it in its first nuclear weapons. The CIA director briefed President Lyndon Johnson, whose reported response was, "Don't tell anyone else," even Dean Rusk and Robert McNamara, the U.S. Secretaries of State and Defense. After a 15-year investigation, the FBI wrapped it up in 1980. No charges were ever filed. 337 kilograms total, roughly 2% of all highly enriched uranium Numek processed, disappeared over the company's operational life. Beyond its policy of ambiguity, what makes Israel's nuclear posture uniquely alarming is the Samson option, a last resort retaliation strategy to be deployed in the event of Israel facing an existential defeat. Multiple analysts have described a targeting doctrine that extends to global capitals and major cities, not just Israel's declared enemies. In 2012, Der Spiegel reported that nuclear-tipped missiles have been deployed on Israel's 5 German-supplied Dolphin-class submarines, each equipped with 20 launch tubes for cruise missiles with ranges sufficient to strike targets in Europe and beyond. Journalist Ron Rosenbaum wrote that these submarines would retaliate not only against Israel's direct attackers, but would bring down the pillars of the world. Rosenbaum wrote that abandonment of proportionality is the essence of this doctrine. The West Point Modern War Institute has noted that the strategic logic of the Samson option implies striking at large population centers. In a 2003 interview, professor of military history at Hebrew University, Martin van Creveld, stated that, "We have the capability to take the world down with us, and I can assure you that that will happen before Israel goes under." Greg Reese reporting.
Maybe. I believe they have that doctrine. Can they actually do it? That's a whole nother question. That's a whole nother question if they can actually do it, but I do believe they do have that Samson option doctrine, 100%. We know they have the Hannibal doctrine. Well, they'll kill their own people. They did on October 7th because they don't want them to be taken hostage. And they like a higher body count as well during the terrorist attack. And that's our greatest ally. And that's who we hitched our wagon to. And there will be no end to the war, especially with Netanyahu in charge. Better believe it. He has to keep the war going, or he will go to prison for corruption in Aardvark land. Think of it. The most corrupt man in the world, even too corrupt for the Aardvarks, is the freaking Polish dude. I forget even his stupid Polish name. Bibi, shadow president of America. Within, 2 hours of the alleged ceasefire, probably even sooner than that. There was no ceasefire with Lebanon, right? They bombed them all the way up to it, and they said, 5 o'clock Eastern time. 5 o'clock Eastern time? Okay, bomb them again. And that's where we're at. I guess let's look at, before we wrap up the show, let's see if there's what's the breaking on Iran International. See what they got to say, and then we'll check out Al Jazeera, and then we'll sign off. This is the top headlines there at Iran International. They say, Trump says Iran war is going along swimmingly and will end soon. Sure. We've already won it 48 different times. U.S. Navy maintaining vigilance in Iran blockade operations, CENTCOM says. Oil prices fall on ceasefire optimism. There's no ceasefire. Okay. U.S. intelligence, they're just killing less people, maybe today, but there is no ceasefire. And there never will be, as they continually violate every ceasefire that they ever agree to. U.S. intelligence says China providing radar systems to Iran. Report out of CBS News. Iran war was a diversion, but U.S. action will deliver results, Trump says. Trump says Iran war is going along. Yeah, I don't know. They doubled up the headlines there. Anyhow, they're not saying the ceasefire is broken there. Let's check out Al Jazeera, and then we'll have to sign off this broadcast. Let's see. Trump mocks consultants who cautioned him against rising oil prices, as 20% of the world's oil supply is offline right now. Let's see. Yeah, nothing particular there. They say Lebanon celebrates as 10-day ceasefire starts. They're not a ceasefire. All right. All right, friends, that's all I got for you today. Hopefully there is a ceasefire. They stop killing people. But again, it's not going to happen because Netanyahu can't let it happen. He can't have peace because then he's going to go out to face the charges against him in Aardvark land. And he knows that he's going to go to jail. And so he can't have that now, can he? What's it called? Odysee still kind of wacky here. Trying to go to Odysee. They did a bunch of updates. Okay, here we are. I think I found the stream over there on the Odysee. There we go. Still kind of wacky on the Odysee, though. All right. Let me check out the chat there. Huffman, John, Deep, Odie's new. Let's see. This is their push to take the Litani. Yeah. They'll not stop till they get it. Yeah, they've said that. So, yeah, I agree with you there. Was John say Trump's blockade is like his Iranian negotiations in that they are both imaginary? Deep said, and 10,000 more U.S. troops will be deployed before the end of the month. Good news, Trump's suiciding our young men to steal oil while he sells off our strategic reserves dirt cheap to his own buddies, to the Rockefeller oil oligarchy. Yeah. Let's see here. The natives are getting restless here in the background. So let's see. Danger says, weird when you click on the ships. None of the descriptions come up as U.S. naval vessels. They're undercover, right? Let's see. Deep says, just learned about the origin of Hezbollah. All they did was defend against the invasion of the occupying forces of the Aardvarks. Yeah. Yeah. They're the terrorists. Let's see here. John says, I am sure America 250 will be a crass, vulgar, and the Trump family will profit somehow. Oh, yeah, you better believe it's going to be, they're going to profiteer handsomely off of this. Got a job interview lined up next week. Got to get some stickers and gear soon. Well, thank you there, Deep. I hope your job interview goes well. I hope the stickers have subversive content, John said. I'm sure they will. I thought he was talking about weaponized news stickers, but whatever stickers you get, make sure they have make sure that they have subversive content on them. Let's see here. Oh, there you go. Deep said, just finished last raised grow bed. Awesome. I got one. I did one. I got a raised grow bed as well. Here, it's looking pretty good. I'll probably take some pictures and show you guys how the Victory Garden's going here for us. And I grew everything from seed too. And that's rough, man, growing it from seed, some of this stuff. You got to figure it out as you go, but yeah. That's awesome to have your Victory Garden going here now. Let's see. Deep said Milikowski. That's what's name? Bibby's real name, right? His Polish name is Milikowski. Yep. And are him and Milei related? Part of the same bloodline, right? It's looking like old Argentina president Javier Milei, the self-proclaimed most Zionist president in the world. Milei, Milowski, they love changing their name, right, to go undercover and say, "Oh, I'm just like you." No, they're not, right? No, they're not. All right, friends on the Odysee, thank you for tuning in there and keeping the chat lively. And good job with the garden. Awesome. One last one from John here. He says, funny how the government and media painted the claims of fires in Lahaina and Paradise being caused by directed energy weapons as ludicrous conspiracy theories, isn't it? Autonomous killing machines, how long before they're unleashed on us? Yeah, well, they can't say conspiracy theory anymore because you can just cite the Department of War and say, look, they're telling you directed energy weapons are a thing and we're using them and we're going to dominate in directed energy. We have the best directed energy weapons in the whole world, right? So there you go. All right, thanks for tuning in on the Odysee, keeping that chat lively and informative. Thank you for tuning in on X, Twitch, Kick, Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. Let me go over to the what I can see over here on the Rumble and YouTube chats. We'll just start in the middle. Let me go to the top so I can give some shout outs. Who's that? Eileen, excuse me. Eileen. Yeah, thank you for tuning in, Eileen. Mac, ATX on the Rumble, Jan, let's see, Walk on the Rumble, but that Rip Bod. Denver says, dude, there are poverty-stricken third world countries where people are taller than Americans on average, live longer, etc. Huh? Well, I guess if we just take some more miracles, then our height would improve, right? Let's see here. Yeah, see, Denver said it right there. There you go. That's it. I mean, come on, man. We've got no meaningful reform. Have we now in public health? Jen says the FDA should be jailed. Yep. Karen said, they're talking among themselves there. Let's see. Yeah. Bardo says the Science of Identity Foundation, a literal cult founded by Chris Butler. It is why Tulsi switched parties and now refuses to resign. Scary. I hadn't heard of that, but the Science of Identity Foundation. I'll take a look at that one. The Science of Identity Foundation. There's some microplastics can be refined into graphene at regular Earth's atmospheric pressure. Well, go sign up for the program with ARPA-H, Denver, and they'll steal your technology and probably put you, what is it? We're up to 11 missing or dead scientists, something like this. I saw that, but I didn't have time to go into it. Probably look at it tomorrow. So there you go. Denver's got the solution, but do you trust ARPA-H with it? You know what I mean? Bardo said, take your food and drink out of plastic containers before placing in microwave ovens. Yeah, I 100% try to use glass as much as you can, and stainless steel, and especially the don't use the freaking Teflon coated cooking pans, right? Don't use that. So there's mitigation that we can do for sure. Assessing the release of microplastics and nanoplastics from plastic containers and reusable food pouches, implications for human health. And Denver put a link there. Yeah. Let's see here. I was talking about the microplastics. Denver's laying down a lot of stuff here. Listen up, ARPA-H. I think they already know the solutions, but we got to throw $1 billion into a black hole and never find the answer or the solution because they already know it. But that's not what any of this is about, is it? Right? Old clip from Fink. It was an old clip, but it tied in. It tied in here, warning about the. I believe Fink, and they say that they say Fink. What an appropriate name! I believe he's another one. Changed his name. It's like Finkelstein or something, right? But he another one of these aardvarks that tries to go undercover, and they change their name. Kind of a trend we're noticing here with them. Plutonium says, so having babies is a video game now in America? Oh, we're talking about that. Yeah, well, to them it is. To these maniacs. It's feeling real end times lately. Snow said. Hell, what else do we want out of life? The Undersecretary of the Department of War in an interview says we're not Skynet. You know, what else do we want out of life? Yeah, it's starting to feel like that. Snow. What is Max says? Zio experiment. Let's see if he comes. Walk says the golden age of F me running. Yeah. Pretty much, man. Cats and puppies get views. Doggy wants out. Yeah. Cats and puppies get views. They do. Let's see here. Max said like the koala apocalypse during the bat time. Jen said Bardo first said on the Rumble said the generational wealth carton neglects the annual 2 to 5% devaluation over the same carton 30-year period. They act like everybody's stupid. There's an economic principle, mathematical fact called the time value of money, right? And they act like everybody's stupid and doesn't understand. I guess the majority of Americans are economically illiterate. I don't know, but there's a lot of math that proves all this stuff out. So, but they act like everybody's stupid. So there you go with their cartoons. Jan says that the two witnesses come first, then the Antichrist. The DC PF, yeah, none of them get arrested for all their rapes, right? For all of their sexual crimes against men, women, children, probably animals too, probably freaking inanimate objects. They're maniacs. Remember, what was his name? The guy in the wheelchair, the congressman, the young guy, and they booted him out because he said, "You guys have no idea behind the scenes the GOP's throwing hooker cocaine parties all day." You know what I mean? And he's like, "I didn't want to be part of that." And they primaried his butt out of there after he said, "Remember that?" Snow said the aardvarks actually worship an ancient Sumerian god. Fun fact. Let's see. Jan says in 1933, it was the Depression. Yeah. Victims or whatever. Dear Lord, he's one sick evil. Yeah, Karen says, yeah. He don't give a damn. He knows. He knows what he's done. Media Lab and AI Labs, the same that Orange or Adam Schwartz and Sam Altman worked at as part of Y Contaminator. I don't know, but that would be interesting. And all signs point toward they whacked old Adam Schwartz, right? Because he like actually had some ethics or something. Golden shout out on the Rumble there. Snow says we're all Palestinians now. Not kidding. Telling me we're all on a Palantir target kill list, right? Better believe it. Yeah, Sam Altman can never be. I reported those quotes. Can never be trusted. He's a psychopath. His classmate Aaron Schwartz said, "Yeah, yeah." Aaron, yet not Adam. Yeah, Aaron Schwartz, bless his soul. He was died way young, right, under very suspicious circumstances. But they claim it was a suicide, right, as per usual. Let's see here. Walk said they look super effing weird. These people. Yeah. Dimmer says they aren't trained to code. They're trained on human-generated data. Yeah. Don't worry about they do it. do. They do 100% have directed energy weapons and now are bragging about them, actually. Human was removed by AI for weapon system. Read the Department of Defense docs. Human was removed by AI for weapon systems, Kerry said. If Skynet's not live, we're very close, and we are all Palestinians on the freaking. Just where are you at on that list? I guess. I'm just looking through some of these. Kerry says best movie house in the world. Moss film. Watch part 4. War and Peace, remastered from 1965. Kerry says Jesuits would have burned Trump in the 15th century. They would have, right? No, they would have. You know they would have. Let's see. Masonic 13 says, oh, that's a spam. Free Iran and non-native visitor species, Earth native coexisting interspecies. Yeah, I can't get with all that, but yeah, Denver says Aardvark Land wants to take all of us to hell with it. Aardvark Land wants to take us all with it to hell. Indeed. Indeed they do. The Samson option, right? Isn't that's the doctrine? Let's see. Wes says Babylon Falls, first Revelation 18. All right, and with that, I'm going to sign off. As always, everybody do your own research. Peace, love, and freedom. Speak out and take action. Have a great rest of your Thursday evening, and we'll see you here on Friday for more Weaponized News. Pray for